Assignment 2024 to 1925. Assignment I. Q.1. Explain the roles and functions of a forensic psychologist. Ans. Roles and functions of a forensic psychologist. Forensic psychology, an intersection of psychology and the legal system, involves the application of psychological principles, theories, and practices to the legal arena. Forensic psychologists play a vital role in both criminal and civil matters, contributing to the pursuit of justice by providing insights into human behavior, aiding in legal decision-making, and supporting various legal processes. The roles and functions of a forensic psychologist are multifaceted and encompass a wide range of activities, including assessment, consultation, treatment, and research. 1. Assessment and evaluation. One of the primary roles of a forensic psychologist is to conduct assessments and evaluations. These assessments can be in various contexts. Times criminal responsibility and competency evaluations. Forensic psychologists evaluate defendants to determine their mental state at the time of the offense, insanity defense, and their competency to stand trial. These evaluations involve extensive interviews, psychological testing, and a thorough review of the defendant's history. Times risk assessment. They assess the risk of reoffending or potential danger an individual may pose to themselves or others. This is particularly crucial in parole decisions, sentencing, and determining appropriate treatment plans for offenders. 2. Times child custody evaluations. In family law, forensic psychologists assist parents and children to provide recommendations regarding custody arrangements that serve the best interests of the child. This involves evaluating parenting abilities, the child's needs, and the parent-child relationship. Times personal injury and disability evaluations. They assess individuals who claim psychological harm due to accidents, workplace incidents, or other traumatic events. These evaluations help determine the extent of psychological damage and its impact on the individual's functioning. 2. Expert testimony. Forensic psychologists frequently serve as expert witnesses in court. Their testimony can provide the court with an understanding of complex psychological issues relevant to a case. Key areas where they may testify include times mental state of the defendant. They provide expert opinions on the defendant's mental health, competence, and criminal responsibility, aiding the court in making informed decisions regarding culpability and appropriate legal outcomes. Times child custody matters. They offer insights into the psychological well-being of children and parents, assisting the court in determining custody arrangements that best serve the child's interests. Times credibility and reliability of witnesses. Forensic psychologists may evaluate the credibility of witnesses, including victims of trauma, by assessing their psychological state and the potential impact of stress or trauma on their testimony. 3. Consultation. Forensic psychologists also act as consultants to legal professionals, law enforcement agencies, and other stakeholders in the justice system. Their consultation roles include times case strategy and jury selection. They assist attorneys in understanding psychological aspects of their cases, developing case strategies, and selecting juries. By analyzing potential jurors' psychological profiles and biases, forensic psychologists can help attorneys build more effective cases. Times law enforcement training. They provide training to law enforcement personnel on various topics, such as interrogation techniques, psychological profiling, and managing mentally ill individuals. This training enhances the effectiveness and sensitivity of law enforcement in handling complex psychological issues. 3. Times program development and policy recommendations. Forensic psychologists contribute to the development of programs and policies aimed at preventing crime, rehabilitating offenders, and improving the criminal justice system. They may evaluate the effectiveness of existing programs and recommend evidence-based improvements. 4. Treatment and intervention. In addition to assessment and consultation, forensic psychologists provide treatment and intervention services to individuals involved in the legal system. These services include times therapy for offenders. They offer therapy and counseling to offenders, addressing underlying psychological issues that contribute to criminal behavior. This can involve individual therapy, group therapy, and specialized interventions such as anger management or substance abuse treatment. Times rehabilitation programs. Forensic psychologists develop and implement rehabilitation programs for incarcerated individuals, aiming to reduce recidivism and facilitate successful reintegration into society. These programs often focus on improving coping skills, enhancing self-control, and addressing criminogenic needs. Time support for victims. They provide psychological support and counseling to victims of crime, helping them cope with trauma, stress, and other emotional consequences of their experiences. This support is crucial in aiding victims' recovery and improving their overall well-being. 5. Research. Forensic psychologists engage in research to advance the field of forensic psychology and contribute to the evidence base that informs practice and policy. Their research activities include time studying criminal behavior. They investigate the psychological factors that contribute to criminal behavior, examining issues such as aggression, psychopathy, and the impact of social and environmental influences. Times evaluating legal processes. Forensic psychologists research the effectiveness of various legal processes and interventions, such as different types of treatment programs, risk assessment tools, and methods for improving jury decision-making. Times developing assessment tools. They develop and validate psychological assessment tools and techniques that are used in forensic evaluations. This research ensures that assessments are reliable, valid, and applicable to diverse populations. Conclusion. 4. Forensic psychologists play a crucial role in bridging the gap between psychology and the legal system. Their expertise in understanding human behavior, combined with their knowledge of legal principles, enables them to make significant contributions to various legal processes. Through assessment, expert testimony, consultation, treatment, and research, forensic psychologists help ensure that justice is served in a fair, informed, and effective manner. Their work not only aids in the resolution of individual cases but also contributes to the broader goal of enhancing the functioning and humanity of the legal system. Q.2 What is juvenile delinquency? Describe the risk factors contributing to delinquency. UNS. Juvenile delinquency. An overview. Juvenile delinquency refers to the participation of individuals, typically those under the age of 18, in illegal or antisocial behaviors. These behaviors can range from minor infractions, such as truancy and vandalism, to more severe crimes, including theft, assault, and drug trafficking. The phenomenon of juvenile delinquency is a critical concern for society due to its implications for public safety, the welfare of the youth involved, and the overall health of the community. Understanding the risk factors contributing to juvenile delinquency is essential for developing effective prevention and intervention strategies. Risk factors contributing to juvenile delinquency. 1. Individual factors. Personality traits. Certain personality traits, such as impulsivity, aggression, and a lack of empathy, can predispose youths to delinquent behaviors. Children with these traits may struggle with self-control and decision-making, increasing their likelihood of engaging in illegal activities. Substance abuse. The use of drugs and alcohol is strongly associated with delinquency. Substance abuse can impair judgment, reduce inhibitions, and lead to criminal acts committed under the influence or to sustain the addiction. Mental health issues. Mental health disorders, such as conduct disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, and depression, can contribute to delinquent behaviors. Youths with untreated or poorly managed mental health issues may turn to crime as a coping mechanism or act out due to their conditions. 5. 2. Family factors. Parental supervision and discipline. Lack of adequate parental supervision and inconsistent or harsh disciplinary practices are significant risk factors for juvenile delinquency. Children who are not properly monitored or who experience erratic discipline may not learn appropriate behaviors and boundaries. Family structure and dynamics. Broken homes, single-parent households, and high levels of family conflict can contribute to delinquency. The absence of a stable family environment can lead to emotional distress and a lack of guidance, pushing youths towards delinquent peers and behaviors. Parental criminality and substance abuse. Children of parents who engage in criminal activities or substance abuse are at higher risk of delinquency. These parents may serve as negative role models, and their behaviors can create an unstable and neglectful home environment. 3. Peer influences. Peer pressure and association with delinquent peers. Adolescents are highly susceptible to peer influence. Associating with peers who engage in delinquent behaviors increases the likelihood that a youth will adopt similar behaviors to gain acceptance or avoid rejection. Gang involvement. Gang membership is a critical risk factor for juvenile delinquency. Gangs often provide a sense of belonging and protection but also promote and engage in criminal activities. Youths involved in gangs are more likely to commit serious crimes and become entrenched in the criminal justice system. 4. School factors. Academic performance and school engagement. Poor academic performance, low school engagement, and truancy are linked to higher rates of delinquency. Students who struggle academically or feel disconnected from school may seek validation and excitement through delinquent activities. School climate and safety. A negative school climate, characterized by bullying, lack of support, and unsafe conditions, can contribute to delinquency. Schools that fail to provide a supportive and secure environment may inadvertently push students towards criminal behavior as a means of coping or rebellion. 5. Community and societal factors. 6. Neighborhood environment. Living in disadvantaged neighborhoods with high crime rates, poverty, and limited access to resources increases the risk of juvenile delinquency. These environments can expose youths to criminal activities and normalize delinquent behaviors. Social and economic inequality. Socioeconomic disparities and lack of opportunities can drive youths towards delinquency. Adolescents in impoverished conditions may turn to crime as a means of survival or to achieve material success not attainable through legitimate means. Exposure to violence. Exposure to violence, whether in the home, community, or through media, can desensitize youths to aggressive behaviors and increase their propensity for delinquency. Witnessing or experiencing violence can lead to trauma and a heightened likelihood of engaging in violent acts. Addressing juvenile delinquency, prevention and intervention. To effectively address juvenile delinquency, it is crucial to implement comprehensive prevention and intervention strategies that target the identified risk factors. These strategies should involve multiple stakeholders, including families, schools, communities, and the juvenile justice system. 1. Early intervention and prevention programs. Implementing programs that focus on early identification and support for at-risk youths can prevent the onset of delinquent behaviors. These programs can include mentoring, counseling, and skill-building activities to promote positive development and resilience. 2. Family support and education. Providing resources and education for families can enhance parental skills and strengthen family dynamics. Parenting programs that teach effective supervision, discipline, and communication can reduce the risk of delinquency. 3. Educational support and school-based interventions. Schools should offer academic support, engage students in extracurricular activities, and create a positive and inclusive school climate. Programs that address bullying, provide mental health services, and promote school connectedness can mitigate the risk of delinquency. Conclusion. Juvenile delinquency is a complex issue with multifaceted risk factors. Addressing these risk factors requires a comprehensive and collaborative approach involving families, schools, communities, and the juvenile justice system. By understanding and mitigating the factors that contribute to delinquency, society can work towards reducing juvenile crime and promoting the healthy development of all youths. 7. Assignment 2. Q.3. Describe the ethical issues in forensic psychology. Ans. Forensic psychology, the intersection of psychology and the legal system, presents several ethical issues due to its complex nature. Key ethical concerns include 1. Confidentiality. Forensic psychologists often work with sensitive information, and maintaining confidentiality is crucial. However, they must balance this with legal requirements to disclose information, such as in cases of imminent harm or legal subpoenas. The challenge lies in navigating these situations while respecting client privacy and legal obligations. 2. Informed consent. Obtaining informed consent is essential, but in forensic settings, it can be complicated. Individuals may not fully understand the nature of their involvement, especially if they are compelled to participate in evaluations or assessments. Ensuring that clients are aware of the purpose, potential outcomes, and implications of their participation is a critical ethical responsibility. 3. Dual relationships. Forensic psychologists often face dual relationships, where they might serve as both an evaluator and a therapist or have other overlapping roles. Such dual relationships can create conflicts of interest and impact objectivity. Maintaining professional boundaries and clarity about roles is crucial to avoid biases and ensure the integrity of the evaluation. 4. Competence. Forensic psychologists must possess specialized knowledge and skills relevant to legal issues and psychological assessments. Practicing outside their area of expertise can compromise the quality of evaluations and reports. Continual education and self-assessment of one's competencies are essential to provide accurate and reliable assessments. 5. Bias and objectivity. Ensuring objectivity is critical in forensic evaluations, but psychologists may face personal or professional biases that can influence their findings. Striving to remain neutral and unbiased, and using evidence-based practices, helps mitigate this risk and maintains the credibility of their work. 6. Use of psychological testing. The selection and interpretation of psychological tests must be done carefully. Tests should be validated and appropriate for the specific legal context. Misuse or over-reliance on certain tests can lead to incorrect conclusions and affect legal decisions adversely. 8.7. Impact on legal outcomes. Forensic psychologists' assessments and testimonies can significantly impact legal decisions and individuals' lives. Ethical practice involves providing clear, objective, and unbiased reports, and avoiding exaggeration or minimization of findings that could influence legal outcomes unfairly. Navigating these ethical challenges requires forensic psychologists to adhere to professional guidelines, engage in continuous ethical reflection, and seek supervision when facing complex situations. Q.4. Describe various types of crime. Crime can be categorized into various types based on the nature of the offense and the harm it causes. Here is an overview of some common categories. 1. Violent crimes. These involve force or the threat of force against individuals. They include murder, the unlawful killing of another person with intent or extreme recklessness. Assault, inflicting physical harm or threatening violence to cause fear. Robbery, stealing from someone using violence or intimidation. Sexual assault, non-consensual sexual contact or acts. 2. Property crimes. These involve the interference with someone's right to use or enjoy their property. Examples are burglary, breaking into a building with the intent to commit theft or another crime. Theft, stealing someone's property without their permission. Vandalism, deliberate destruction or defacement of property. Arson, intentionally setting fire to property to cause damage. 3. White-collar crimes, non-violent crimes typically committed by individuals, businesses, or government officials in their professional life. These include fraud, deceptive practices intended to secure financial or personal gain, such as credit card fraud or investment scams. Embezzlement, misappropriating funds entrusted to one's care, often in a business or financial context. 9. Tax evasion, illegally avoiding paying taxes by underreporting income or inflating deductions. 4. Drug crimes. These involve the illegal possession, distribution, or manufacturing of controlled substances. Examples are possession, holding illegal drugs for personal use. Trafficking, selling or distributing illegal substances. Manufacturing, producing illegal drugs. 5. Cybercrimes, crimes committed using computers or the internet, which include hacking, unauthorized access to computer systems or networks. Identity theft, stealing personal information to commit fraud. Online harassment, using digital platforms to threaten or stalk individuals. 6. Organized crimes. These are crimes conducted by structured groups typically involved in multiple illegal activities. Examples include drug cartels, large organizations involved in drug trafficking. Human trafficking, illegal trade of humans for labor or sexual exploitation. Extortion, forcing individuals or businesses to pay money through threats or coercion. Each category reflects the complexity and varied nature of criminal behavior, encompassing both individual and systemic issues within society. Q.5. Explain read technique as a method of interrogation. The read technique is a method of interrogation developed by John E. Reed and his associates. It is designed to elicit confessions from suspects by employing a series of psychological strategies. The technique is widely used by law enforcement agencies in the United States and has influenced interrogation practices worldwide. The read technique consists of 3 phases: the pre-interview, the interrogation, and the confession. The pre-interview phase involves gathering information and assessing the suspect's behavior to determine their level of truthfulness or deception. This phase helps the interrogator to establish a rapport and decide whether to proceed with the formal interrogation. 10. During the interrogation phase, the read technique employs a systematic approach aimed at obtaining a confession. The process is characterized by several key components. 1. Behavioral analysis. The interrogator observes the suspect's behavior, including body language and verbal cues, to identify signs of deception or discomfort. This analysis helps in tailoring the interrogation strategy. 2. Direct confrontation. The interrogator accuses the suspect of involvement in the crime, presenting evidence or arguments that suggest guilt. This direct approach aims to create psychological pressure on the suspect. 3. Theme development. The interrogator introduces various themes or rationalizations to persuade the suspect that confessing is in their best interest. These themes might involve minimizing the moral seriousness of the crime or suggesting that confession will lead to more lenient treatment. 4. Handling denials. If the suspect denies involvement, the interrogator may employ tactics to challenge and overcome these denials. This could include presenting evidence in a way that seems to contradict the suspect's denials. 5. Offering choices. The interrogator may present the suspect with a choice between two scenarios, both of which involve admitting guilt. This strategy aims to reduce the suspect's resistance and encourage a confession by making them feel they have some control over the outcome. 6. Developing the confession. Once the suspect begins to admit to the crime, the interrogator works to elicit a full confession, encouraging the suspect to provide details and context. While the read technique has been effective in obtaining confessions, it has also faced criticism. Some argue that it can lead to false confessions, particularly when suspects are vulnerable or under significant psychological pressure. Critics emphasize the importance of ensuring that interrogation methods are ethical and reliable to prevent wrongful convictions. Assignment 3. Q.6. The Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory. UNS. The Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, MMPI, is a psychological assessment tool designed to measure personality traits and psychopathology. Developed in the late 1930s by Starkar, Hathaway and J.C. McKinley at the University of Minnesota, the MMPI has undergone several revisions, with the MMPI-2 and MMPI-2-RF being the most current versions. 11. The test consists of a large set of true-false statements, which are used to assess a variety of psychological conditions and personality attributes. It is widely used in clinical settings for diagnosing mental health disorders, guiding treatment, and evaluating personality structure. The MMPI includes several scales that measure different psychological conditions, such as depression, paranoia, and schizophrenia, as well as validity scales to assess the respondent's honesty and consistency. The MMPI is known for its empirical approach, meaning its scales were developed based on statistical analysis of responses from both clinical and non-clinical populations. This makes it a robust tool for psychological assessment, though it is most effective when interpreted by trained professionals. Q.7. Criminal Psychology. UNS. Criminal psychology is the study of the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors of individuals who commit crimes. It seeks to understand the underlying psychological factors that contribute to criminal behavior, such as personality disorders, childhood trauma, and social influences. Criminal psychologists analyze the motives behind criminal acts, the mental state of offenders, and the impact of their behavior on victims and society. They often work in criminal investigations, profiling suspects, and providing insights to law enforcement. They also contribute to rehabilitation efforts by developing treatment plans aimed at reducing the risk of reoffending. Understanding criminal psychology helps in creating more effective prevention strategies and interventions, and in improving the criminal justice system's response to crime. This field integrates principles from psychology, criminology, and law, and requires professionals to apply both theoretical knowledge and practical skills to address complex issues related to criminal behavior. Q.8. Police stress. UNS. Police stress is a significant issue impacting officers' mental and physical health. The nature of police work involves high-pressure situations, exposure to trauma, and frequent contact with danger, which can lead to chronic stress. Officers often face long hours, shift work, and a lack of work-life balance, all contributing to heightened stress levels. The stress can manifest in various ways, including anxiety, depression, and burnout. Physical symptoms may include fatigue, headaches, and gastrointestinal issues. The psychological toll of constant exposure to traumatic events can also impact personal relationships and overall well-being. Support systems within police departments, such as counseling services and peer support programs, are essential in managing and mitigating stress. Training programs focusing on 12 stress management and resilience can also help officers cope better. Additionally, Fostering a supportive work environment where mental health is prioritized can make a significant difference in reducing stress and promoting overall well-being. Addressing police stress is crucial for maintaining both the effectiveness of law enforcement and the health of its personnel. Q.9 Child Custody. UNS. Child custody refers to the legal determination of who has the right to make decisions regarding a child's upbringing and who the child will live with. This decision is usually made by a court if parents cannot agree on their own. Custody is typically divided into two main types: legal custody and physical custody. Legal custody grants a parent the authority to make important decisions about the child's education, health care, and religious upbringing. It can be awarded solely to one parent or shared between both. Physical custody pertains to where the child lives and who provides day-to-day care. Like legal custody, physical custody can be sole or shared. In determining custody arrangements, courts prioritize the child's best interests, considering factors such as the child's age, health, emotional ties to each parent, and each parent's ability to provide for the child's needs. The aim is to ensure stability, continuity, and a supportive environment for the child's development. Parents are encouraged to work together to create a custody plan that serves the child's needs and maintains a positive relationship with both parents. Q.10 Criminal Responsibility. UNS. Criminal responsibility refers to the legal principle that holds individuals accountable for their actions under the law. It involves determining whether a person should be deemed liable for committing a criminal offense. To establish criminal responsibility, several key factors are considered. 1. Mental state. The individual must have had the requisite mental state or intent to commit the crime. This includes understanding the nature of their actions and recognizing that those actions are unlawful. Mental illness or incapacity can impact this assessment. 2. Actus reus. There must be a physical act or omission that constitutes a crime. Simply having a harmful intent without an accompanying act generally isn't enough for criminal responsibility. 13. 3. Mens rea. This refers to the mental state or intention behind the act. It involves assessing whether the person acted with intent, recklessness, negligence, or knowledge. 4. Legal defenses. Certain defenses, such as self-defense, duress, or insanity, can negate or reduce criminal responsibility by showing that the individual's actions were justified or that they lacked the capacity to understand their actions. Ultimately, criminal responsibility is determined by legal standards and judicial interpretation, balancing individual accountability with considerations of mental and moral capacity.